We're in the pursuit of joy. Love
I
is
can't
in the
take it anymore. Get
details.
out, get out, get out. Uncle, make it end. Make it end. What is this? Guys, I feel like I'm a very accepting person. Truly, I want to like something about her. I'm searching for something to like about her. And it's so hard.
What do you think of them?
This is why it's so nice to not have makeup on.
That is so beautiful.
No,
They're ridiculous.
no,
She never stops whining.
no.
Meghan Markle Googled, is the race card an actual card?
Slay the dragon, save the princess. I'm like, that's my husband.
Hey, I love your Luke.
Sorry, what's that?
Your Luke. You look amazing. Your Luke.
My Luke. My Luke. My look. She likes my Luke.
Your voice is driving me crazy and I'm about to jump over there and put my fists down your throat.
She's allegedly wearing no makeup. Meanwhile, she's got like the perfect blowout. Like she's completely camera ready. And she also is pretending that she's crying. There isn't a tear in sight. It's an actor's trick.
I've never seen someone that struggles to just give us like one strip of authenticity.
I think the woke have been asleep.
Oh my gosh, I work so hard.
You're complaining about your hard life and you're so privileged. It's just so weird.
It's ridiculous.
They won't let me call myself Her Royal Highness anymore, but I'm gonna put it all over my stationery and on the gifts that I give to my friends.
Is Meghan Markle really the queen of chaos? Or just flipping the script to play the victim again? That tear-filled podcast appearance, was it a heartfelt confession or just another PR move gone wrong? Because honestly, none of it felt legit.
Here's an email that I've been keeping for you.
I have full body chills right now.
This is why it's so nice to not have makeup on. Thank you. Yeah.
That is so beautiful.
No.
And let's talk about the host, Jamie Kern-Lima. The way she kept hyping Meghan up like she was some kind of saint reborn, creepy. It was giving major fan club vibes, not a serious interview.
Jamie Kern-Lima, who seems to be even more fake and insufferable than the Duchess.
Both of them did come across like they haven't actually, been in touch with maybe someone who's worried about the price of eggs.
Very first question, because I think in friendship it's so important. And I think so many people also have this question for you is, Meghan, how are you? And are you okay?
That's so kind.
Yes, it really is that awful. I may have blacked out from smacking myself in the head.
Dan, when you do interviews on your show, do you do the Jamie Kern-Lima reactions? Yes. Oh my God, there's something wrong with her.
Now let's get into the heat she caught over that Time magazine most influential shout out. The internet didn't just roast it, they lit it up like a bonfire. Then there's Prince Harry's awkward BBC sit-down that had critics shaking their heads, and behind closed doors, insiders keep whispering that Meghan's more obsessed with the spotlight than anything else. When she brings up kids, she somehow still flips it back to herself.
For kids, that's fun, so many good songs, and I've become that mom where I'm like sitting around with friends and I start singing like, Tyrannosaurus, that's the chorus, Tyrannosaurus. I was like, what am I singing? Oh my gosh, I'm singing Storybook. I'm singing Storybooks. I am not singing Beyonce in that.
Every single time. Her big Spotify deal, gone! That Netflix series crashed and burned, and now there's talk she might get the boot from the Royal Circle altogether. So why is she still out here signing stuff as Her Royal Highness? No one's falling for that royal act anymore.
They won't let me call myself Her Royal Highness anymore, but I'm gonna put it all over my stationery and on the gifts that I give to my friends.
I find it a little bit cringe to give a gift to a close friend and sign it Her Royal Highness.
Why even in private? She's using that full title, Her Royal Highness.
I would never refer to myself as Her Royal Highness.
40 minutes into the podcast, this little picture, quite a grainy picture, flashed up, which shows a basket of, homemade preserves with a card on it, HRH, Duchess of Sussex, Meghan.
You dropped off this gift basket with ice creams, homemade strawberry sauce to put on top of the ice cream. Her latest podcast promised something raw and real, but all it delivered was more of the same smoke and mirrors. No makeup, no script, just Meghan Markle, the so-called Duchess of Sussex, claiming to bare her soul. But let's keep it real. It felt totally staged, like a carefully packaged PR stunt pretending to be a deep emotional moment. Honestly, Katy Perry saying she's an astronaut came off way more believable than Meghan trying to act all authentic.
I just think she's crying for sympathy, playing the victim when there's nothing to be a victim about. And there's also no sympathy to be granted for this lifestyle that she's chosen to live.
Work so hard. The moment that everything sells out, it doesn't mean that we're done. It means we're working on replenishment and what are the next SKUs and what's the next tranche of products and what's the timing on that and writing the newsletters and writing the social media captions and making sure that all that feels in line and what's the cadence of it. And
in this interview, she really goes on these tangents of talking about how stressful her day is. And when I was listening to it, I was thinking, no, that sounds like a normal day to me, Meghan.
And Jamie, the podcast host? Yeah, she's Meghan's friend. But wow, the way she spent the whole episode hyping her up was over the top. It sounded less like an interview and more like one long, gushy fan letter. By the end, we didn't actually learn anything, except how far Meghan's so-called royal persona is being stretched. Critics weren't buying the act either. Most people saw it for what it was. A perfectly planned move to boost her image and push that luxury lifestyle brand she's trying to make happen. Yeah, the merch sold out in 30 minutes. But word on the street is there was barely any stock to begin with. That's a classic marketing trick to fake success. And people are mad. Some folks online are still waiting on their orders a whole month later.
It flopped really hard despite Spotify trying to push it, and they realized that these two don't really want to work, okay?
Happened to Spotify. The critics were horrible about With Love, Meghan. You sold inventory that you didn't have on asever.com. People are still waiting for their refund.
So when she's trying to sell these kind of, I'm sorry, but crappy, cheap tats to middle America, she needs to have this relatability, and she doesn't have that at all.
Then came the trademark filings. Yoga mats and pet bowls? For real? Social media exploded, calling it a sad last-ditch cash grab. It's wild. And let's not forget, the entire podcast felt like one long brag session. Like, who needs that much time to talk about how amazing their life is?
I don't like her. That's what everybody says. Yeah. Everybody who works for her quits. Everybody says she's a bully. She's very nasty. Not only is she incredibly controlling, but she's a bitch about it to everybody who works for her. When things inevitably start spiraling downward, she blames everyone but herself.
They want it both ways. These people were so mean to us and poor us, and we don't want all this attention. And then let me write a book about how much we don't want attention.
No real struggle, no real honesty, just back-to-back self-promotion on what's starting to feel like the Meghan Markle show. She's out here painting the picture of a picture-perfect mom again.
She's trying to sell herself as this wholesome mother who's baking cookies and making tea for the rest of the family.
And this was one of the most every mother out there will understand. She wants us to put together a fruit crudité board for our children in the morning. Now, look, Maureen.
I can't.
Look at this.
She is doing a cooking show on Netflix. I only watched 5 seconds of it, and I thought she was going to cut her wrist by trying to zest a lemon. This girl has never been in the kitchen in her life.
She writes emails to her 2 little kids every single night. Yup, you heard that right. Nightly emails to toddlers. Who even does that? Sounds less like real parenting and more like something you'd say to boost your image. Come on. That's not heartwarming. That's full-blown branding. It's the type of thing someone says when they want to look flawless, not when they're keeping it real.
Can you imagine being Archie or Lilibet and opening this inbox of 6,000 emails when you turn 18? No one wants that, not the children. And also it sets this really unrealistic expectation, which Meghan is so good at doing for other parents.
If I don't have meetings in the morning, then I try to do school drop-off. They're at 2 different schools. So from 6:30 in the morning on drop-off mornings for me, I'm not home till 9.
Her life is so hard because she has to do school drop-offs. And thank God that she's got a live-in nanny basically raising these 2 children.
Sure, the episode racked up millions of streams and the clips went wild on TikTok and Insta. But let's not act like everyone was impressed. Jamie Kern-Lima, the host, kept calling it raw, but people online were side-eyeing the whole thing hard, and the weirdest part? Jamie kept repeating that Meghan hadn't seen any of the questions beforehand, like over and over again. Why say that so much? It felt less like being transparent and more like setting up a defense before folks could call it staged. Seriously, why push that point so hard? Were they trying to convince the audience? Or were they just trying to convince themselves this wasn't a full-on scripted setup from the jump?
She's allegedly wearing no makeup. Meanwhile, she's got like the perfect blowout. Like she's completely camera ready. And she also is pretending that she's crying. There isn't a tear in sight. It's an actor's trick.
During promotion for Suits, she was joking with one of the photographers that she can cry on command. Left eye, go. And then you watch a tear fall down her face, and then she starts cackling because she's so proud of herself.
She has this really famous thing where she says one tap left eye and she can make herself cry on demand.
You haven't seen any of the questions ahead of time, and we're in our sweats, and you look the exact same with no makeup as makeup, and we're
that's very generous.
Either way, nobody was buying it. Everything about it felt way too polished, way too rehearsed. Like a Hollywood scene, not a heartfelt moment.
Just another lie from Meghan, where she's told us one thing about this wholesome family life that she's got, but really it's staff behind the scenes that are upholding this entire image for this.
Even the Daily Mail's Alexander Larman didn't hold back, calling her tearful moment a transparent attempt to stay relevant. And let's be real, he's not wrong. Over on X, people were shredding her, pointing out how every detail looked planned to perfection.
They kind of fucked up their whole thing, went way too hard on we're victims, and they assessed the mood of their generation and America correctly in that we are lovers of victimhood. Yeah. But America did finally find a way to say, you know what, we love victims, but you two, we've just had a little too much of it.
One user even joked, even her tears have a PR team. That says it all. It didn't feel like a breakdown. It felt like a soft launch for the next chapter in the Meghan brand playbook. Critics weren't shy about it either. A bunch of them slammed the episode for being way too focused on her. Everything kept circling back to Meghan. Her struggles, her image, her brand. It was like no matter what topic came up, it had to shine a spotlight on her. According to The Express, even royal insiders are saying this sudden emotional flip won't be enough to clean up her public image. In fact, a lot of folks are convinced it's just another performance. Another smart move to stay in the spotlight while pretending to be the relatable one. Her big moment at the Time 100 Summit, total disaster. The backlash was instant. And honestly, it's hard to say who came off more forced, Blake Lively with the over-the-top charm, or Meghan with her royal victim act. Either way, the whole thing felt painfully staged. And let's not forget, she didn't even make the 2025 list.
The Times list of cool people, but she did get invited there because her agency probably bought her access. This is one of the goofiest things ever.
Because I think it speaks to the tiny moments of joy that are so effortless and just create a little bit of magic that we're all craving.
What in the hell word salad is this?
Tiny little flower petals that are dried. I started putting them on salads. I started putting them on scrambled eggs. Level of charm that you find people have when they see these tiny little dried petals is something I can't fully wrap my head around, but I appreciate.
I'm elevating it by putting dried flower petals on all of my food.
People online called her appearance ridiculous, dragging the fact that her business is sinking. She's out here selling jam, honey, and cupcake sprinkles. Like, how's that changing the world? Who does Meghan think she is? Gayle King? Let's be real. Gayle actually earned her spot. She literally went to space. Meanwhile, Meghan's still out here clinging to royal titles like they're VIP passes. GB News even quoted critics calling her nothing but a self-promoter using the monarchy for clout.
But as soon as Meghan Markle made it absolutely clear that it was all about the moolah, it was all about the big bucks, it was all about trading off the royal name, but she was lining up these deals when she was still the Duchess of Sussex. She was in talks with Disney, she was in talks with the publishing companies, in talks with Netflix. At that point, the late Queen Elizabeth II, quite rightly in my opinion, said, no, there is no half in, half out. So you can go, you go with our blessing, but you lose everything.
She married for money. It's very clear she bagged the elephant. She was thrilled. She became a, quote, princess.
I mean, Meghan did claim that before dating Harry, she never Googled him, and she said she didn't know much about the royal family.
It was planned from the beginning. I know someone who knows the ex-husband who said she had a vision board with Prince Harry on it.
Before they met?
Yes.
And that time nod, it's starting to look more like a PR handout than a legit honor. Then came Prince Harry's recent BBC interview, where he took shots at King Charles for brushing off his security concerns after losing that court appeal. But instead of support, he caught serious heat. Critics were quick to drag him for being totally out of touch. Folks said he looked more focused on throwing shade than dealing with reality. The Daily Mail's Sarah Vine didn't sugarcoat anything. She called his whole vibe pure self-pity and accused him of using King Charles's cancer diagnosis to grab sympathy.
He lost at the trial court level on this push to make the British royal family pay for his security when he goes to the UK.
Once they realise that myself, my wife, and our kids are happier outside of the institution, please just look at the fact, look at the risks, look at the threat, look at the impact that if anything was to happen to me, my wife, or my father's grandchildren, look where the responsibility lies.
What a manipulation. My father's grandchildren. They're gonna die, and it will be his fault.
It's gaslighting on a grand scale.
Harsh? Maybe. But ITV News said palace insiders were straight up shocked by his comments, and the Mirror reported that Charles doesn't even trust his own son anymore. He's worried every private conversation could end up in the next Netflix tell-all. And users on X, they didn't hold back at all. People called Harry spoiled, dramatic, and one person even labeled the whole interview a royal pity party. Oof! This whole mess just made the family feud even uglier. And the whispers haven't stopped. Folks still say Meghan's the one who really drove the wedge. Some even claim she didn't just cause a little drama. She blew the whole royal crew apart on purpose. That's what I'm saying. Even major voices are calling it out.
But I have zero sympathy for him. The fact that he is putting his father through this in the final years of his life. And Meghan, there are members of the royal family who believe that Harry's behavior hastened the death of the late Queen Elizabeth II.
I believe that too. That's what I say. I say those two killed the Queen.
Megyn Kelly straight up called Meghan a malignant narcissist. And The Telegraph's Celia Walden said that podcast sounded more like a self-absorbed therapy session than anything meaningful. Even Page Six dropped the tea. Top-tier brands like Goop are reportedly rejecting Meghan's pitch to be a lifestyle guru.
Thank you for trusting me with your first ever podcast and with your friendship.
Yeah. Means a lot, Jamie. Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm a very accepting person. Truly, I want to like something about her. I'm searching for something to like about her, and it's so hard.
Why? She's just too polarizing. And honestly, who can blame them? Every time she cries, it feels like she's selling something. Critics ain't buying the tears. They say it's not real vulnerability. It's scripted, polished, and dripping in fakery. She's not being open, she's performing. And people are finally starting to catch on. And the host, Jamie Kern-Lima, she agreed with everything Meghan said, like she was reading from a Meghan Markle fan club handbook. Zero pushback, no challenge. It didn't feel like an interview. It felt like someone's dream fan fiction getting acted out on a mic. Even The Independent's Roy C. Lanigan said the way Jamie kept gushing made the whole thing feel more like a product ad than a real convo.
And this podcast with Jamie Kern-Lima was absolutely car crash. I mean, Jamie Kern-Lima is actually a very successful woman, self-made billionaire. However, she is a fame whore because, she first found fame by appearing on the first series of Big Brother. She believes that she's the new Oprah Winfrey. And the problem is, you realize these are the types of people Meghan Markle is surrounding herself with. And none of them are prepared to ever give her a dose of reality.
Usually when we're together, we're in our cozy sweats and no makeup. So that's how we are today. No one's picked up my book proposal yet.
Yes.
I haven't found my soulmate yet. Everything is yet.
The power of yet.
The power of yet. Yet.
But I'm happy. And the kids are healthy and H is great. But I'm trying to also enjoy these big wins right now.
Yes.
Enjoy it.
It wasn't a raw moment. It was a straight up PR promotion for Meghan's image. People on X saw through it too, calling it a full-on Meghan hype session. And here's the kicker. Jamie sold her own company for $1 billion. She knows what building something real looks like. So why spend the whole hour treating Meghan like some kind of untouchable icon? All I got from that episode was a front row seat to how far people will go to protect something totally fake.
She's a princess too, and Harry is slaying dragons to rescue her.
You know, look what we built. We've built a beautiful life, and we have 2 healthy, beautiful children. And I always think about it like the end of Super Mario Brothers when you get to the final level. And what's the goal in Super Mario? They're like, slay the dragon, save the princess. I'm like, that's my husband.
Who's Harry rescuing her from? The family she abandoned before making him abandon his?
Meghan's teary podcast moment and Harry's dramatic BBC meltdown are raising the same burning question. Are they being real, or is this just another performance for the cameras? From that sketchy Time most influential nod to ex-staffers leaking stories about Meghan's fiery temper behind the scenes, it's getting real hard to figure out where the actual people stop and the PR show begins. Critics are calling them a full-blown narcissistic tag team, always turning up the drama to snatch sympathy. Yeah, they've got fans calling them misunderstood. But let's be honest, the internet ain't buying the act anymore. At this point, most people think the so-called Duchess of Drama and her headline-hunting prince are less about truth and all about building the brand. Is any of it actually real? Or are we all just watching one long, never-ending performance for clicks, attention, and cash? The crying, the chaos, the controversies, it's all starting to feel like a scripted reality show with royalty vibes. And honestly, nobody really knows what's real anymore. But what do we know? The drama never stops. So if you're into the mess, make sure to like, share, and subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next one.